The unexpected encounter. The bustling spaceport of Centauride Prime hummed with activity as beings from across the galaxy hurried about their business. Amidst the chaos, a lone human figure stood out, not for any particular feature, but for the calm determination in his eyes. Jack Harper, a 28-year-old terraforming engineer, had just arrived on this alien world for what he hoped would be the opportunity of a lifetime. As Jack made his way through the crowded terminal, his attention was drawn to a commotion near one of the less traveled corridors. A group of alien security officers were roughly escorting an elderly creature away from the main concourse. The being's tattered robes and hunched posture marked them as one of the station's unfortunate outcasts. Without hesitation, Jack approached the scene. "Excuse me," he called out, his universal translator working overtime to convey his words in the local dialect. "Is everything all right here?" The security officers, reptilian creatures with iridescent scales, turned to regard Jack with a mixture of surprise and disdain. "This is none of your concern, human," one of them hissed. "This vagrant has been causing disturbances and must be removed." Jack's gaze shifted to the elderly alien, noting the fear and resignation in their large, multifaceted eyes. Something about the being's bearing, despite their current state, hinted at a noble past. "Perhaps I can be of assistance," Jack offered, his mind racing to find a diplomatic solution. "I'm new here and could use a guide. Maybe this individual could help me in exchange for a meal and a place to rest." The security officers exchanged glances, clearly taken aback by the human's proposal. After a moment of hesitation, the lead officer shrugged. "On your own head be it, human, but if there's any trouble, you'll answer for it." As the officers retreated, Jack turned to the elderly alien with a gentle smile. "I'm Jack Harper. What's your name?" The alien regarded Jack with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity before responding in a voice that seemed to carry the weight of centuries. "I am called Zorath. Why would you help one such as I, human?" Jack's smile widened. "Because everyone deserves a chance, Zorath. Now, how about we find somewhere to sit and talk? I wasn't kidding about needing a guide, and I have a feeling you have some interesting stories to tell." As they made their way to a nearby eatery, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that this chance encounter would lead to something far greater than he could imagine. Little did he know that his simple act of kindness was about to set in motion a chain of events that would reshape the political landscape of the entire galaxy. Over a meal of unfamiliar, but surprisingly tasty alien cuisine, Jack listened intently as Zorath slowly opened up. The elderly alien spoke of a home world torn by strife, of a once proud civilization now fractured by internal conflicts and external pressures. Though Zorath was careful not to reveal too much, Jack's keen mind began to piece together a picture of a being far more important than their current circumstances suggested. "You're not just a refugee, are you?" Jack asked softly, his eyes scanning the crowded eatery for any signs of eavesdroppers. "There's more to your story." Zorath's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with a mix of emotions. "You are perceptive, Jack Harper. Perhaps too perceptive for your own good. But yes, there is more to my tale than I have shared. However, this is neither the time nor the place for such revelations." Jack nodded, understanding the need for discretion. "Fair enough. But I want to help if I can. I may be new here, but I've got a knack for problem solving. It's kind of my job, actually." Zorath tilted their head, a gesture Jack was beginning to recognize as one of curiosity. "And what exactly is your job, young human?" "I'm a terraforming engineer," Jack explained, his eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. "I help make inhospitable worlds livable. It's all about understanding complex systems and finding ways to balance them. In a way, it's not so different from politics or social engineering." A low, rumbling sound emanated from Zorath, which Jack's translator helpfully identified as laughter. "Oh, my dear boy, you have no idea how apt that comparison is. Perhaps the fates have brought us together for a reason after all." As they continued their meal, Jack shared more about his own background. He spoke of growing up on a struggling colony world, of the challenges his family and community faced, and of his determination to make a difference. He explained how he'd worked his way through the academy, driven by the belief that with the right knowledge and tools, any problem could be solved. Zoreth listened intently, those alien eyes seeming to peer into Jack's very soul. "You have a good heart, Jack Harper. A rare quality in these troubled times. But I must warn you, the path you are considering is fraught with danger. The forces at play in this sector of the galaxy are not to be trifled with." Jack's expression grew serious. "I understand the risks, Zorath, but I can't just walk away knowing that there's injustice happening. If there's a way I can help, I want to try." The elderly alien sighed, a sound like rustling leaves. "Very well. If you are truly committed to this course of action, there is something you should see. But not here. We must go somewhere more discreet." As they left the eatery, Jack couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension. He'd come to Centauri Prime seeking adventure and purpose, but this was far beyond anything he'd imagined. Yet, as he followed Zoreth through the winding corridors of the spaceport, he felt a sense of rightness, as if he were exactly where he needed to be. Their journey took them to a small, nondescript quarters in one of the station's lower levels. As the door slid shut behind them, Zoreth's demeanor changed. The stooped posture straightened, and a regal bearing emerged that confirmed Jack's earlier suspicions. "What I am about to show you, Jack Harper, is a secret that could reshape the balance of power in this sector," Zoreth said, voice filled with gravity. "Are you certain you wish to become involved?" Jack took a deep breath, then nodded firmly. "I'm sure. Whatever it is, I want to help." Zoreth regarded him for a long moment, then reached into the folds of those tattered robes. What emerged was a small crystalline device that pulsed with an inner light. As Zoreth activated it, a holographic display sprang to life, filling the room with a swirling map of stars and planets. "This," Zoreth explained, "is the true map of the Zarthian Empire. Not the diminished territory shown in official records, but the full extent of our influence before the usurpers took control. And hidden within this map is the key to reclaiming our rightful place among the stars." Jack's eyes widened as he took in the vast expanse of the holographic display. You're royalty, aren't you? The rightful ruler of this empire." Zoreth nodded solemnly. "I am Zoreth, sovereign of the Zarthian people. Or at least I was, until a coup forced me into exile. For years I have waited and watched, seeking a way to restore justice to my people. And now, Jack Harper, I believe you may be the catalyst we have been waiting for." As the implications of this revelation sank in, Jack's mind raced with questions and possibilities. He had come to Centauri Prime seeking a new challenge, a chance to make a difference. Now he found himself at the center of a galactic intrigue, with the fate of an entire civilization potentially resting on his shoulders. I don't know what to say," Jack admitted, his voice filled with a mix of awe and determination. "But I'm ready to help in any way I can. Where do we start?" Zoreth's multifaceted eyes seemed to glow with renewed hope. "We start, my young friend, by gathering allies. There are others, both among my people and other species, who yearn for change. With your unique perspective and skills, we may be able to unite them in a common cause." As they began to plan their next moves, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of destiny. He had always believed that humanity had a greater role to play in the galaxy, that their adaptability and ingenuity could be a force for positive change. Now he had the chance to prove it. Little did Jack know that his journey was just beginning. The path ahead would be fraught with danger, political intrigue, and challenges that would test the very limits of human ingenuity. But with Zoreth's wisdom and his own determination, Jack was ready to face whatever the galaxy might throw at him. As the first part of their adventure drew to a close, the unlikely pair, a deposed alien monarch and a human terraforming engineer, stood united, ready to embark on a quest that would shake the foundations of galactic society. The stage was set for a tale of courage, innovation, and the indomitable spirit of humanity in the face of overwhelming odds. Unraveling the mystery. The Centauroid Prime spaceport's underbelly pulsed with an energy Jack Harper had never experienced before. Neon signs in a dozen alien languages battled for attention, while the air thrummed with the bass of exotic music from countless nightclubs. Jack, still reeling from Zareth's revelation, found himself swept along by the deposed monarch through this den of secrets and shadows. First lesson in galactic politics, Jack. Zareth's voice crackled through a sophisticated subvocal communicator. Trust is a luxury we cannot afford. As they wove through the crowd, Jack's engineer's mind whirred with calculations and possibilities. Zareth, I've been thinking about your empire's fall. What if we approach this like a terraforming project? Sometimes to heal a planet, you have to introduce a new element to catalyze change. Zareth's multifaceted eyes glimmered with interest. Intriguing. What did you have in mind? Before Jack could respond, a commotion erupted ahead. A group of hulking reptilian creatures surrounded a small, trembling alien child. Jack's heart raced as he recognized the attackers, Drakmar mercenaries, notorious for their cruelty. Without hesitation, Jack stepped forward. Hey, pick on someone your own size. The Drakmar turned, their scaled faces twisted in sneers. Human, one hissed. This is not your concern. Jack's mind raced, recalling everything he knew about Drakmar culture from his xenobiology studies. In a flash of inspiration, he dropped into a low stance, mimicking a Drakmar challenge posture. I invoke the right of Cathara, he declared, his voice steady despite his pounding heart. Face me or forfeit your honor. A hush fell over the crowd. The lead Drakmar, clearly caught off guard, hesitated. In that moment of uncertainty, Jack pressed his advantage. Or perhaps you fear facing a mere human. I understand. We can be unpredictable. The taunt struck home. With a roar, the Drakmar leader lunged at Jack. But the human was ready. Years of practicing zero-G maneuvers in terraforming operations had honed Jack's reflexes to a razor's edge. He sidestepped the attack, using the Drakmar's momentum to send him crashing into his companions. As the mercenaries scrambled to regain their footing, Jack scooped up the alien child and retreated to where Zareth waited. The crowd, sensing the shift in power, closed ranks behind them, shielding them from pursuit. Impressive, Zareth murmured as they ducked into a hidden alcove. But also reckless, you've made powerful enemies today. Jack grinned, the adrenaline still coursing through his veins. Maybe, but we've also made a friend. He knelt down to address the alien child. Are you okay, little one? What's your name? The child's large, luminous eyes blinked up at Jack. I am Silith, it whispered in a musical voice. You saved me. Why? Because it was the right thing to do, Jack replied simply. He turned to Zareth. This is what I was trying to say earlier. Sometimes, the catalyst for change isn't a thing. It's an action. A moment of kindness or courage that inspires others. Zareth nodded slowly, a new respect evident in their gaze. Perhaps you're right, Jack, but we must move quickly. Those mercenaries were no random thugs. They bore the insignia of the usurper's secret police. As if on cue, alarms began to blare throughout the station. A booming voice echoed through hidden speakers. Attention all citizens. A dangerous fugitive has been spotted in the lower levels. Emperor Zorkath offers a substantial reward for any information leading to the capture of the traitor Zareth and their human accomplice. Jack's blood ran cold. I guess subtlety is off the table now. What's our move? Zareth's expression hardened with determination. We need to get off this station. I have an old friend who captains a smuggling vessel. If we can reach her, we might have a chance. As they prepared to make their dash for freedom, Shilith tugged at Jack's sleeve. Please, the child pleaded, take me with you. I have nowhere else to go. Jack looked to Zareth, who nodded grimly. The child comes with us. They've seen too much to be left behind. With alarms wailing and the thunder of approaching security forces growing louder, the unlikely trio, a deposed alien monarch, a human engineer, and a refugee child, plunged into the chaotic streets of Centauri Prime's underbelly. Their flight through the station became a harrowing gauntlet of near misses and quick thinking. Jack's knowledge of environmental systems proved invaluable as he guided them through maintenance tunnels and air ducts, evading patrols with a combination of luck and ingenuity. At one point, trapped in a dead-end corridor with security closing in, Jack spotted a control panel for the station's atmospheric regulators. With a few quick calculations and some deft rewiring, he triggered a localized pressure drop, creating a dense fog that allowed them to slip past their pursuers unseen. Remarkable, Zareth breathed as they emerged from the mist. You've turned the very air against our enemies. Jack shrugged, a hint of a smile on his face. Just a little terraforming trick. Sometimes, to survive on a hostile world, you have to change the environment to suit your needs. As they neared the docking bays, a new challenge presented itself. The entire area was locked down, with heavily armed guards at every entrance. It seemed their luck had finally run out. But Silith, who had been silent for much of their flight, suddenly perked up. "I know another way," the child exclaimed. "Through the waste reclamation system. It's how I survived on my own all this time." Jack and Zareth exchanged glances. It was a risky move, but they were out of options. Following Silith's lead, they slipped into a maintenance hatch and found themselves navigating a maze of recycling tubes and filtration systems. The journey was grueling and not for the faint of heart. More than once, they nearly lost their way in the labyrinthine system, but Silith's knowledge proved invaluable, guiding them through the twists and turns with unerring accuracy. Finally, after what felt like hours of crawling through increasingly narrow passages, they emerged into a dimly lit hangar. Before them stood a battered but sleek starship, its hull adorned with the scars of countless adventures. "The stellar wind," Zareth whispered reverently. "Captain Lyra's pride and joy. If anyone can get us off this station, it's her." As if summoned by Zareth's words, a figure emerged from the shadows. Captain Lyra was a sight to behold, a towering four-armed alien with skin that shimmered like the surface of an oil slick. Her voice, when she spoke, was like gravel wrapped in silk. Well, Your Highness. I wondered when you'd come crawling back." Despite her harsh words, there was a glint of affection in Lyra's multifaceted eyes. "And I see you've brought some strays with you. This should be interesting." Before anyone could respond, the hangar doors began to groan. The sound of cutting torches filled the air as security forces attempted to breach the sealed entrance. "Time for introductions later," Jack urged, his eyes darting between the door and the ship. "Can you get us out of here?" Lyra's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Oh, I like this one. All right, folks, strap in. This is going to be a bumpy ride." As they scrambled aboard the Stellar Wind, Jack's mind was already racing with possibilities. They had escaped immediate danger, but he knew this was just the beginning. Somewhere out there, among the stars, lay the key to restoring Zoreth's empire and bringing justice to a fractured galaxy. The ship's engines roared to life just as the hangar doors burst open. In a blaze of superheated plasma and screeching metal, the Stellar Wind tore free of its moorings and shot into the inky blackness of space. As Centauri Prime receded behind them, Jack turned to his companions, Zareth, regal even in exile, Silith, a child wise beyond their years, and Captain Lyra, a smuggler with secrets of her own. He couldn't help but smile at the strange turns his life had taken. "So," he said, strapping himself into a seat as the ship prepared for its jump to hyperspace, "where do we start unraveling this mystery?" Zareth's eyes gleamed with a mixture of hope and determination. "We start, my friend, by gathering an army. And for that, we'll need to visit a place I haven't seen in years, the hidden rebel base on the forest moon of Xylos." As the stars outside the viewscreen stretched into lines of brilliant light, Jack knew that their adventure was only just beginning. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he was ready to face them, armed with his wits, his newfound allies, and the unshakable belief that humanity's greatest strength lay in its capacity for kindness, ingenuity, and hope. The mystery of Zoreth's lost empire was about to unfold, and Jack Harper, once a simple terraforming engineer, now found himself at the heart of a story that would reshape the very fabric of galactic society: the quantum nexus. The stellar wind emerged from hyperspace with a flash of exotic particles, its hull vibrating with the aftereffects of faster-than-light travel. Jack Harper steadied himself against the navigation console, his eyes widening as he took in the sight before them. The forest moon of Thylos hung in space like a glittering emerald, its verdant surface swirling with storms of bioluminescent pollen. But it wasn't the moon itself that captured Jack's attention. Surrounding Thylos was a vast, shimmering network of energy, a cosmic web that pulsed with otherworldly power. By the stars, Zoreth breathed, their multifaceted eyes reflecting the ethereal light. The quantum nexus, it's real. Captain Lyra's mandibles clicked in agitation. Your Highness, you didn't mention we'd be flying into a legend. My ship isn't equipped for this kind of weirdness. Jack's mind raced, connecting dots faster than he thought possible. The quantum nexus, it's not just a power source, is it? It's the key to your empire's technology. Zoreth nodded sullenly. More than that, Jack, it's the foundation of our very existence. The nexus connects all realities, all possible futures. Our ancestors learned to harness its power, using it to build a civilization that spanned not just space, but time itself. As if in response to Zoreth's words, tendrils of energy reached out from the nexus, enveloping the stellar wind in a cocoon of shimmering light. Alarms blared throughout the ship as systems went haywire. We're being pulled in, Lyra shouted, her forearms working furiously at the controls. Brace for impact. But impact never came. Instead, the ship passed through the outer layer of the nexus like a stone skipping across water. Reality itself seemed to ripple around them, colors shifting and blending in impossible ways. Jack's engineer brain kicked into overdrive, analyzing the flux of energy around them. It's not just drawing us in, he realized. It's scanning us, evaluating us somehow. Silith, who had been silent until now, suddenly spoke up. It's looking for the worthy, the child said, their voice tinged with an otherworldly resonance. Those who can shape the future. Before anyone could question Silith's strange pronouncement, the ship burst through the inner layer of the nexus. The chaotic energy faded, revealing a sight that took Jack's breath away. Suspended within the heart of the quantum nexus was a massive space station, its architecture unlike anything Jack had ever seen. Crystalline spires twisted in geometries that seemed to defy the laws of physics, while rivers of pure energy flowed through transparent conduits. The nexus core, Zoreth whispered reverently, the true seat of power in our empire. I never thought I'd see it again. As the stellar wind drifted towards a docking bay that materialized out of thin air, Jack's mind whirled with questions. But before he could voice any of them, a holographic figure flickered to life in the center of the bridge. The being before them was clearly artificial, its form composed of intricate fractal patterns that shifted and flowed like liquid crystal. When it spoke, its voice resonated on multiple frequencies simultaneously. Greetings, travelers. I am the Overseer, custodian of the quantum nexus. Your arrival has been anticipated and dreaded. Zoreth stepped forward, regal bearing on full display. Overseer, I am Zoreth, rightful ruler of. We know who you are, the Overseer interrupted, its tone neutral yet somehow ominous. All of you, Jack Harper, the human whose kindness set these events in motion. Captain Lyra, whose past is more complex than even she knows. Silith, the child who is far more than they appear. The Overseer's gaze seemed to pierce through each of them in turn. You have entered the Nexus at a crucial juncture. The multiverse stands on the brink of collapse, and your actions here will determine the fate of all realities. Jack felt a weight settle on his shoulders, the responsibility almost crushing. But with it came a surge of determination. What do you mean, collapse? How can we stop it? The overseer's form rippled, projecting a series of images that filled the bridge. Jack saw countless versions of reality, some familiar, others utterly alien. But in each, a creeping darkness spread, consuming everything in its path. The usurper, Emperor Zorkath, has discovered a way to manipulate the quantum nexus for his own gain, the overseer explained. He seeks to collapse all realities into one, a universe where he reigns supreme. But the process is unstable. If he succeeds, it will mean the end of everything. Zoreth's eyes blazed with fury. Then we must stop him. Overseer, grant us access to the core. With its power, we can. It is not that simple, the overseer cut in. The core's defenses are keyed to Zorkath's biosignature. Any attempt to breach them directly would trigger a cascade failure, accelerating the collapse. A heavy silence fell over the group. The situation seemed hopeless. But Jack, his mind working in overdrive, saw a glimmer of possibility. What if we don't need to breach the defenses, he mused aloud. What if we could trick them instead? All eyes turned to Jack as he began to pace, his excitement growing. Zoreth, you said the Nexus connects all realities, right? So somewhere out there must be a reality where you defeated Zorkath and reclaimed the throne. The Overseer's form pulsed with interest. Theoretically, yes, but accessing alternate realities is incredibly dangerous. The quantum entanglement alone cold. Could be managed, Jack interrupted, his confidence growing. If we combine Zarthian quantum technology with human ingenuity, we don't need to fully cross over, we just need to borrow the biosignature of victorious Zorath. Laura let out a low whistle. Kid, you're either a genius or completely insane. Possibly both. Zoreth, however, was nodding slowly. It could work. But we'd need a way to navigate the quantum probability space to find the right reality. Shalith stepped forward, their small form seeming to grow more substantial. I can do that, the child said, their voice resonating with hidden power. I am a quantum seer, one who can perceive the threads of possibility. As the others stared in shock, Silith's form began to glow with an inner light. This is why I was hunted, why I had to hide. But now I can use my gift to save us all. The Overseer's form shimmered with what might have been approval. A bold plan. But even if you succeed in accessing the core, you will still need to undo the damage Zorkath has done. The fate of the multiverse will rest in your hands. Jack looked around at his unlikely companions, an exiled queen, a roguish smuggler, a child with godlike powers, and himself, a simple engineer from Earth. Against them stood the might of a corrupt empire and the very fabric of reality itself. The odds were astronomical, the danger unimaginable. But as Jack met the eyes of his friends, he saw in them the same determination that burned within his own heart. Well, he said, a hint of a smile playing on his lips, I've always wanted to save the universe. Didn't realize I'd have to save all of them. As the group began to plan their audacious heist, a quantum bank job with reality itself as the vault, Jack couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement. This was so far beyond anything he'd ever dreamed of, yet somehow he knew he was exactly where he needed to be. The next few hours were a whirlwind of preparation. Jack worked closely with Zoreth and the Overseer, combining human problem-solving with Zarthian quantum theory to devise a way to safely extract a biosignature from an alternate reality. Lara put her smuggler's ingenuity to work, figuring out how to mask their approach to the core once they had the signature. And Silith, with the Overseer's guidance, began to explore their newfound abilities as a quantum seer. As the final pieces of their plan fell into place, Jack took a moment to gaze out at the swirling energies of the quantum nexus. Somewhere out there, beyond the boundaries of his own reality, infinite versions of himself were living out their own stories. He wondered how many of them had found themselves in situations as incredible as this. Having second thoughts, Zoroth's voice broke through his reverie. Jack turned, offering a confident smile. Not a chance, just thinking about how far we've come. When I woke up this morning, I was just a terraforming engineer looking for a new job. Now, I'm about to pull off a heist that could save the multiverse. Zoroth's multifaceted eyes gleamed with a mixture of amusement and respect. The universe works in mysterious ways, Jack Harper. But I've come to believe that perhaps it was not chance that brought us together. Your humanity, your compassion, your ingenuity, your unwavering hope, it may be exactly what we need to forge a better future. As if on cue, alarms began to blare throughout the station. The overseer's voice echoed through the corridors. Warning, temporal anomaly detected. Zorkath's forces approach from multiple realities. The collapse is accelerating. Jack and Zoroth exchanged a determined look. This was it, the moment that would decide the fate of all existence. Well, Jack said, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation, I guess it's time to make history, or rewrite it, or whatever it is we're about to do. As they raced to join the others, ready to launch their impossible plan, Jack felt a surge of pure, unadulterated excitement. This was humanity at its best, facing the unknown with courage, creativity, and an unwavering belief in the power of cooperation. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever mind-bending twists reality might throw at them, Jack knew one thing for certain: they would face it together. And in doing so, they just might redefine what was possible for all sentient beings across the multiverse. The heist of the century, no, of all centuries, all realities, was about to begin, and at its heart stood a simple human, armed with nothing but his wits, his compassion, and a newfound family of unlikely allies. The universe would never be the same again. The Singularity Gambit. The quantum nexus thrummed with barely contained energy as Jack Harper and his unlikely team of cosmic heroes prepared to execute their daring plan. Time itself seemed to warp around them, the very fabric of reality straining under the weight of Zorkath's machinations. "All right, people," Jack addressed the group, his voice steady despite the chaos swirling around them. "We've got one shot at this. Let's make it count." Zoroth nodded solemnly, her regal bearing a stark contrast to the frayed edges of her once opulent robes. "Indeed, the fate of all realities rests upon our success." As they moved towards the core, Siddharth's small form began to glow with an otherworldly light. The child's eyes, once wide with innocence, now swirled with the infinite possibilities of the multiverse. "I see them," Siddharth whispered, voice echoing with cosmic resonance. "The threads of probability, they're converging. We must act now." Captain Lyra, her forearms deftly manipulating a series of quantum stabilizers, shot Jack a wry grin. "No pressure, right, Earthling?" Jack couldn't help but smile back. Despite the overwhelming odds, he felt a surge of confidence. This was what humanity did best, facing the impossible with ingenuity, determination, and a touch of audacity. As they approached the core's defenses, Jack activated the device they cobbled together. A jury-rigged marvel of human intuition and alien technology. Initiating quantum signature spoof, now. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sound like reality itself sighing in relief, the defenses parted before them. They burst into the core chamber, a vast space that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. At its center floated a pulsing orb of pure quantum energy, the heart of the Nexus. But they weren't alone. "Well, well," a silky voice echoed through the chamber. "The prodigal queen returns, and with such interesting company." Emperor Zorkath materialized before them, his form shifting between states of matter like a living quantum anomaly. His eyes, pools of swirling darkness, fixed upon Jack with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. "A human," Zorkath mused. "How quaint. I've conquered realities far grander than anything your primitive species could imagine." Jack stepped forward, undaunted. "Maybe so, But you've overlooked something crucial about humans, Zorkath. We don't know when to quit. With that, Jack activated the second phase of their plan. The quantum device in his hands pulsed, sending out a wave of energy that interfaced directly with the core. Suddenly, the chamber was filled with holographic displays, each showing a different reality. Jack's fingers flew over the controls, his mind working in perfect harmony with the alien technology. You see, while you were busy trying to collapse realities, Jack explained, his voice rising with excitement, we figured out how to link them, to create a network of shared knowledge and resources across the multiverse. Zorkath's form flickered, uncertainty creeping into his voice. Impossible. The energy requirements alone would be massive. Zorath cut in, her voice ringing with authority. Unless you have a species known for thinking outside the box, for seeing connections where others see only chaos. As if on cue, the holographic displays came alive with activity. Versions of Jack from countless realities began to appear, each contributing their unique expertise to the problem at hand. There was Jack the quantum physicist, Jack the AI specialist, Jack the biological engineer, each bringing a piece of the puzzle that their counterpart in this reality couldn't possess on his own. Behold, Silith proclaimed, their small form now blazing with the light of 1,000 suns, the birth of the multiversal collective consciousness. The core pulsed with newfound energy as knowledge and innovations from infinite realities poured into a single, unified network. Jack felt his mind expanding, connecting with his alternate selves in a symphony of human ingenuity. Zorkath stumbled back, his form destabilizing. No, I won't allow this. I am the master of reality. But his protests fell on deaf ears. The tide had turned, and now it was Zorkath who found himself outmatched and outmaneuvered. With a gesture, Jack directed the full power of the multiversal collective consciousness towards the task of undoing Zorkath's damage. Reality itself began to heal, the creeping darkness of collapse retreating before the onslaught of unified knowledge and purpose. As Zorkath's form began to dissipate, pulled apart by the very forces he had sought to control, he fixed Jack with a final, disbelieving stare. How? How could a mere human? Jack smiled, a touch of sadness in his eyes. Because Zorkath, the greatest power in any universe, isn't control or domination. It's connection, the ability to reach out, to empathize, to work together towards a common goal. That's humanity's gift to the cosmos. With a final, reality-shaking howl, Zorkath vanished, his consciousness scattered across the very multiverse he had tried to destroy. As the dust settled and the energies of the core stabilized, Jack turned to his companions. Zora's eyes shone with pride, Lyra gave a grudging nod of respect, and Silith beamed with the wisdom of ages. So, Jack said, a hint of his old humor returning, I guess we just saved everything. What's next? Before anyone could answer, a new voice echoed through the chamber, not hostile, but filled with awe and excitement. Greetings, architects of the multiversal collective consciousness. We are the precursors, guardians of cosmic balance, and we've been waiting an eternity for someone like you. As a shimmering portal opened before them, inviting them to a new level of existence, Jack couldn't help but laugh. It seemed their adventure was far from over. Well, gang, he said, reaching out to take Zora's hand on one side and Silith's on the other, shall we see what's behind door number infinity? Together, this unlikely family, born of kindness, forged in crisis, and now heroes of all reality, stepped forward into a new chapter of cosmic history. The age of isolation was over. The era of multiversal cooperation had begun. And at its heart stood humanity, not conquerors, not saviors, but bridges. Connectors of worlds, weavers of shared destiny. In Jack Harper's simple act of kindness to a disguised queen, the seeds of infinite possibility had been sown. As they crossed the threshold into a realm beyond imagination, Jack felt a surge of pure joy. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he knew that the combined ingenuity, compassion, and indomitable spirit of humanity would rise to meet them. The greatest adventure in the history of all realities was just beginning. The simulation revelation. As Jack Harper and his extraordinary companions stepped through the shimmering portal, reality itself seemed to pixelate and dissolve around them. For a moment, there was nothing but a whirling vortex of pure information, strings of code, mathematical equations, and fragments of every story ever told. Then, with a sudden snap of clarity, they found themselves in a vast white space. Before them stood the precursors, beings of pure energy, their forms constantly shifting between complex geometric patterns. "Welcome, architects," the precursors spoke in unison, their voices resonating on multiple levels of consciousness. "You stand at the precipice of the greatest revelation in the history of all realities." Jack, his mind still reeling from the cosmic download of the multiversal collective consciousness, stepped forward. "What revelation is that?" The lead precursor's form coalesced into a shape eerily reminiscent of a classic grey alien. "The truth about your existence, about all existence. You see, what you perceive as reality, as the multiverse itself, is in fact a simulation." A stunned silence fell over the group. Zoroastri's regal composure faltered, Lyra's mandibles clicked rapidly in agitation, and even Scylla's cosmic glow dimmed slightly. But Jack began to laugh. "Of course it is," he said, shaking his head in amazement. "It all makes sense now. The quantum nature of reality, the seemingly arbitrary physical constants, the sheer improbability of our victories. We're in a cosmic video game." The precursor's forms rippled with what might have been approval. "Your insight serves you well, human. But this is no mere game. It is the grandest experiment in the history of, well, everything." As the precursors explained, holographic displays materialized around them, showing the structure of their simulated reality. Layers upon layers of code, each representing a different aspect of existence, from the fundamental forces of physics to the complex web of sentient consciousness. "But why?" Zoreth asked, her voice a mixture of awe and indignation. "Why create all this, only to reveal its artificial nature?" "Because," another precursor chimed in, its form resembling a double helix of DNA, "the simulation has achieved its purpose. It has produced beings capable of recognizing and transcending their own programmed reality." Shillith, the small form now pulsing with renewed cosmic energy, stepped forward. "We are the bridge between the simulated and the real, the next step in cosmic evolution." Jack's mind raced with the implications. "So what happens now? Do we just shut down?" "Quite the opposite," the precursors chorused. "Now you have a choice. You can remain within the simulation, continuing to explore and expand your reality. Or," the white space around them shimmered, revealing glimpses of a world beyond, a reality of unimaginable complexity and wonder. "Or," Jack breathed, "we can enter the real world, your world." "Indeed," the precursors confirmed. "But be warned, the transition will not be easy. Your very nature will be fundamentally altered. You will be reborn as beings of pure information, free from the constraints of your simulated physicality." A heavy silence fell over the group as they contemplated this monumental decision. It was Lyra who finally broke it, her voice uncharacteristically soft. "All my life, I've sought freedom, from rules, from expectations, from the very laws of physics. But true freedom, it's terrifying." Zoreth placed a comforting hand on Lyra's shoulder. "Perhaps, but it is also exhilarating. Think of all we could learn, all we could become." Philip's eyes swirled with infinite possibilities. "We could reshape reality itself, become the authors of our own destiny." As his companions debated, Jack found his gaze drawn to the glimpses of the world beyond. It was beautiful, yes, but also alien and overwhelming. He thought of Earth, of the simple kindnesses that had led him on this extraordinary journey, of the power of human connection and ingenuity. "Wait," he said, a new idea forming. "What if there's a third option?" All eyes turned to Jack as he addressed the precursors. You said we're beings capable of recognizing and transcending our programmed reality, right? So why limit ourselves to a binary choice? Why not merge the realities? The precursor's forms flickered with surprise. Merge? Such a thing has never been attempted. The computational power required would be immense, Jack finished. But not impossible. Not with the multiversal collective consciousness at our disposal. We could create a new kind of existence, one that combines the best of both realities, the wonder and limitless potential of your world with the heart and humanity of ours. As Jack spoke, his words seemed to resonate on a fundamental level. The very fabric of their surroundings began to shift and change, responding to the power of his imagination. Don't you see? Jack continued, his voice rising with excitement. This is the next step in the grand experiment, not just recognizing the nature of our reality, but actively shaping it, co-creating with the very forces that brought us into being. The precursors conferred among themselves, their energy forms pulsing with rapid calculations. Finally, the lead precursor turned back to Jack. Your proposal is unprecedented, risky. It could result in the collapse of both realities, and yet, it also holds the potential for something truly extraordinary. A new form of existence, born from the union of creator and creation. Zora stepped forward, standing tall beside Jack. I have seen firsthand the power of unlikely alliances, of bridging divides thought uncrossable. If anyone can make this work, it's us. Lyra nodded, a spark of her old adventurous spirit returning to her eyes. Well, I didn't come this far to play it safe. I say we go for it. Phyllis' form began to glow brighter, tendrils of energy reaching out to connect with both their companions and the precursors. I will serve as the conduit, the bridge between realities. As agreement rippled through both groups, the white space around them began to transform. Colors blurred into existence, forming swirling nebulae and spiraling galaxies. The code underlying reality became visible, weaving through the cosmic tapestry like strands of luminous silk. Jack felt his consciousness expanding, merging with the multiversal collective and reaching out towards the vast intelligence of the precursors. It was overwhelming, terrifying, and the most exhilarating thing he had ever experienced. As the boundaries between realities began to blur and merge, Jack caught glimpses of the new world they were creating. It was a realm of infinite possibility, where thought could reshape matter, where the deepest mysteries of existence lay open to exploration. But it was also a place where the simple joys of human experience, love, laughter, the thrill of discovery, remained vibrantly alive. In that moment of cosmic rebirth, Jack understood the true power of humanity. It wasn't their technology, their adaptability, or even their capacity for kindness, though all these played a part. It was their ability to dream, to imagine realities beyond the given, and to work tirelessly to bring those dreams to life. As the merger reached its climax, a new universe blossoming into existence around them, Jack turned to his companions. No longer alien and human, no longer separate beings, but fellow architects of a grand, unified reality. Well, he said, a smile playing on his lips as he gazed out at the infinite wonder they had wrought, I guess this is where the real adventure begins. And with that, the newly ascended beings took their first steps into a cosmos of their own making, a reality born of simulation and transcendence, of kindness and cosmic law, of the eternal dance between creation and creator. The story of humanity had evolved into the story of everything, and it was only just beginning.